Namo Manju Shiri Ye, Namo So Shiri Ye, Namo O Dhamma Shiri So Ha, O Namo Manju Shiri Ye, Namo So Shiri Ye, Namo O Dhamma Shiri So Ha, O Namo Manju Shiri Ye, Namo So Shiri Ye, Namo O Dhamma Shiri So Ha. Jedang Zoge Chona La, Jiangzhou Bandu Dandi Gyasu Chi, Dagi Chuni Gibe Sonangi, Rola Venje Sange Roba Shu. Jedang Zoge Chona La, Jiangzhou Bandu Dandi Gyasu Chi, Dagi Chuni Gibe Sonangi, Rola Venje Sange Roba Shu. Jedang Zoge Chona La, Jiangzhou Bandu Dandi Gyasu Chi, Dagi Chuni Gibe Sonangi, Rola Venje Sange Roba Shu. Pege Juji Mento Zhang, Zhira Li Shi Ni De Gen Ba Di, Sang Jie Xin Dio Mi De Wa Ye, Do Ge Nang Da Xin La Jue Ba Zhu, Yi Dan Guru Ran Na Men Da La Gang, Ya Da Ya Mi. Please adjust your sitting posture to 7 meditative postures of Varachana. I think all sentient beings have been my mothers. All sentient beings have been my mothers for numberless times, not just one. And they are as kind as my mothers of this life. Even though all kind mothers, sentient beings want happiness and do not want suffering. However, due to engaging wrongly in objects of adoptions and abandonment, they only experience suffering. In our minds, sincerely generate loving kindness towards all kind mothers, sentient beings by thinking, how nice it would be if all kind mothers, sentient beings had excellent happiness. May all kind mothers, sentient beings have excellent happiness. I will cause all kind mothers, sentient beings to experience excellent happiness. Lama, please bless me to be able to do so. Next, we generate compassion towards all suffering mother sentient beings by thinking, how nice it would be if the body of all suffering mother sentient beings were free from the class that is discordant with accomplishing virtue, such as pain, sickness, and problem caused by 4 elements. May the body of all suffering mother sentient beings be free from the class that is discordant with accomplishing virtue. I will free the body of all suffering mother sentient beings from the class that is discordant with accomplishing virtue. Lama, please bless me to be able to do so. How nice it would be if the minds of all suffering mother sentient beings were free from the class that is discordant with accomplishing virtue, such as mental suffering and coarse and subtle conceptual thoughts. May the minds of all suffering mother sentient beings be free from the class that is discordant with accomplishing virtue. I will free the minds of all suffering mother sentient beings from the class that is discordant with accomplishing virtue. Lama, please bless me to be able to do so. How nice it would be if the speech of all suffering mother sentient beings were free from the class that is discordant with accomplishing virtue, coarse and subtle negative speech such as telling lies. May the speech of all suffering mother sentient beings be free from the class that is discordant with accomplishing virtue. I will free the speech of all suffering mother sentient beings from the class that is discordant with accomplishing virtue. Lama, please bless me to be able to do so. In brief, how nice it would be if the three doors of all suffering mother sentient beings were free from the class that is discordant with accomplishing virtue. May the three doors of all suffering mother sentient beings be free from the class that is discordant with accomplishing virtue. I will free the three doors of all suffering mother sentient beings from the class that is discordant with accomplishing virtue. Lama, please bless me to be able to do so. How nice it would be if all sentient beings were free from suffering and the causes of suffering. May all sentient beings be free from suffering and the causes of suffering. I will free all sentient beings from suffering and the causes of suffering. Lama, please bless me to be able to do so. Next, we generate bodhicitta. First, by asking ourselves, who should take on the responsibility to free all mother sentient beings from the sufferings of samsara and lower realms? I should take on the responsibility to free all mother sentient beings from the sufferings of samsara and of lower realms. However, I do not have the ability to do so now. Who have such ability? Only those who have achieved the perfect, complete enlightenment have the abilities to do so. Therefore, for the sake of all mother sentient beings, by all means, I will achieve the state of enlightenment. Next, we generate all-encompassing yoga mind, the aspiring conventional bodhicitta that thinks, for the sake of all mother sentient beings, I will achieve the state of enlightenment. These transform into a white mundis, a complete white mundis at one's heart. And the ultimate bodhicitta, that is one's mind becoming in one taste with emptiness, the lack of inherent existence. That transformed into a white five-pronged vajra on top of the mundis.
대지에서 더 통보다 정민의 주비 지다 사대 컨디야 마도 비서 이 주비 동안이 사포스 동반의 주지선.
Next, we meditate on emptiness for a short while. That I exist neither intrinsically one with, nor intrinsically different from the aggregates. Thus, I do not exist intrinsically.
대지에서 가서 남지다바 쉬로 키디만 것이 고선지 게이샤 컨디나 신서 같이 두고 있는 지 센터 같이. 간다. 와서 주세님들은 예상 고서 제바데 신신지기 체도 봐. 누나들 저와 대진중에 대체도 사들이 공세디 아버지 레투바이나다 신바서는 공 있습니다. 와. 공 있으면 신비지 원하는 시들이 있습니다.
As I always say, it is very important to conjoin whatever virtue we do with the practice of 6 perfections. Thus, the first one is generosity. And generosity is mainly a mind of giving or intentions of giving. So I will dedicate these 2 hours of listening, contemplating, and meditating on Dharma for the sake of pacifying the sufferings of all sentient beings and achieving the happiness of all sentient beings. Next is morality. His morality is mainly a mind of abandonment. So during these 2 hours of listening, contemplating, and meditating on Dharma, I will properly abandon my physical and verbal negativities so that they do not manifest. Next is patience. And patience, the nature of patience is an undisturbed mind. So during these 2 hours of listening, contemplating, and meditating on Dharma, I will accept and willingly embrace any physical or mental hardships. Next is joyous effort. Joyous effort is a mind that takes delight in virtue. So during these 2 hours of listening, contemplating, and meditating on Dharma, I will take delights in accomplishing the virtue and also working for the welfare of sentient beings. Next is meditative concentration. And meditative concentration is one single-pointedly focus one's mind on any virtuous object. So during these 2 hours of listening, contemplating, and meditating on Dharma, I will single-pointedly focus my mind on the intended object of observation. Next is wisdom. Wisdom is an awareness that thoroughly distinguishes phenomena. So during these 2 hours of listening, contemplating, and meditating on Dharma, I will properly understand, I will put effort in properly understanding the meaning of the teachings.
Yani tsögi deshin desin gelap da bunu satı sapıyor bu çeşit.
Set a good motivation. For the sake of all mother sentient beings, I will achieve the state of enlightenment. For this purpose, I will listen to the holy teachings and practice accordingly in order to benefit sentient beings.
Yeah, thank you. So kasi de chera ma ma ro ji shi sar ro ba tri ma zo ndo de ba ngol ma is ro.
So previously we briefly talked about the Vaibhashika. So today I'm going to talk about Sautrandika.
Da kana ni ba ndo de ro shi pa la kanda chini yo da shi ba yu jin de se da me jin de se sa ma jin na ja de shi ba de da sa ji de ndo de ni ma shi wa yin shi wa.
So the second school, which is Sautrandika, is explained in 7 divisions. The first one is definition, divisions, etymology, mode of asserting objects, modes of asserting object possessors, modes of asserting selflessness, and presentations of grounds and paths.
Da kana ndo de chini de la kanda da rori da shi de ni ga ken be teme je tunda ma ye ko da ndo de chini se da ndo de ba da pe tem ji se su ro da de chida man do de ban dis da wo do da chida mai chide ken je rori ken ma ne ba wa da ndo de ba ge rori da shi de ni ga ken be teme je tunda ma ye ko da.
So the definitions of a Sautrandika is a person who propounds Hinayana tenets and accepts both self-cognizer and external objects. Sautrandika and exemplifier are mutually inclusive. So the definitions of a Sautrandika and the definitions of Vaibhashika is slightly different. So for Vaibhashika, they accept external objects, but they do not accept self-cognizer. So however, for Sautrandika accept both self-cognizer and also external objects.
Da kana da de ngado shi de da de rori zo da ji da shi shi sa wa da de ya ne shi mu ba ji ro da ando de ba da pe tem ba ji se da de su do.
So regarding self-cognizers and external objects, since I have already mentioned, we have talked about it, so I will not go through it I will not go through it anymore. So and he says Sautrandika and exemplifier are mutually inclusive.
Da kana ndo de ba da pe tem ba ro pe tem ba shi ji jun se de kanda da pe tem ba ndo de ba da pe tem ba shi ji jun se de ba wo dong bu de la do da kanda da shi ma do ro da yin no ngi jin da kan do de ba ye wa de la ma sa ji ni ba da ye wa de da ngi jin da kan do de ba bi jin da kan do de ba ni shi wa de ye wa de sa ji ni ba da.
So the second outlines is divisions. So there are 2 divisions: Sautrandika following scripture and Sautrandika following reasoning.
Da ngi jin da kan do de ba sa da ge ban ji jin da kan do de ba da ripi jin da kan do de ba da chema de de ji jin da kan do de ba da wo de su da ni che ba de.
So Sautrandika following scripture is a Sautrandika who follows the Abhidhamma Kosha. And Sautrandika following reasoning is a Sautrandika who follows the 7 treatises on valid cognition.
Da kanda sumba drahi de da ji shi kanda do de ba hi sha gina da chung de ni jin do yi je sen da ne tun ta ma yin do de ba che tang ji pe gu ne tem ba de pe na da pe tem ba se da drahi de do de.
Yeah, so here he says Sautrandika and exemplifier, right? So the etymology regarding Sautrandika and exemplifier is as follows. So they are called Sautrandika because they propound tenets following the sutras of the Buddha. So they are also called sutra school in English. Sutra school. Yeah, so they're following the sutras of the Buddha, and they are also called exemplifiers because they like to explain all phenomena by means of examples, or they teach all doctrines by means of example.
다른 번지지 젠더 근도 대바다 쳔마 디디지 젠더 근도 대바다 다다 롱라 끼니 다간다 또 간다 롱도 디라 끼니 대간다 근타마인 단도 대바다 나디로와 롱도 디라 끼니 대근타마인 도 대바다 와 어디게 시고리 간다 제다도 시비 땡지로서 받은 디제스 만당 와로 제다도 시비 땡지로서 받은 디제스 만당 와 롱도 디라 끼니 So
they are called Sautrantikas or Sutra school because they propound tenets following the scriptures of the Buddha or following the sutras of the Buddha without following the treatises. And an example of the later is Sautrantika following reasoning. So then they they follow the Dhammakiti's 7 treatises on valid cognition. So this is the etymology of Sautrantika, who following scriptures and following, etymology of Sautrantikas. So even though etymology is not pervasive, however, this is the etymology of Sautrantika. So basically, when we talk about Sautrantika following scripture, so it is follow the scriptures of the Buddha and the sutras of the Buddha, and Sautrantikas following reasoning, then we follows. Sautrantika following Sautrantika following scripture, then they are Sautrantika who follows Abhidhammakosha, and Sautrantika following reasoning, then they are Sautrantika who follows Dhammakiti's 7 treatises on valid cognition. So come to the fourth outline is modes of asserting objects. It contains many important points under this outline. So the definitions of an existent is that which is observed by a valid cognizer. And there are 2 divisions of existence. So when existence is divided, there are 2 divisions. The first one is conventional truths, and the second one is ultimate truths. So previously when we talk about when we learn lyrics, then we talk about these definitions of an existence, right? For example, existence, object of knowledge, and etc. So as long as it is an existent, it is known by an valid cognizer. It is aware by a valid cognizer, and is seen by a valid cognizer, and it is observed by a valid cognizer. So sometimes we might think that, when we say seen by a valid cognizer, observed by a valid cognizer, or known by a valid cognizer, or aware by a valid cognizer. So it refers to the valid cognizer of an ordinary beings. However, it doesn't refer to the valid cognizer of an ordinary beings. It means that when he says it is seen by a valid cognizer, known by a valid cognizer, then regardless how subtle that existence is, so as long as it is an existence, it is known or seen or aware or observed by an omniscient exalted knower. So since we are talking about the modes of asserting objects, then we also have to recall the definitions of object. The definitions of object is that which is that which is aware by that which is known by an awareness. That which is known by an awareness. So that is the definitions of object. So as long as it is an object, it is known, it is observed, it is seen by an awareness. Similarly, that which is suitable to be an object of an awareness, that is the definitions of object of knowledge. So again, we have to recall that object existence, objects of knowledge, established base, phenomena, object of comprehensions, all these are synonyms. Yeah, so those that we have learned before. So in general, objects, existence, object of knowledge, established base, and etc. They are synonyms. So, and we also have to relate these relate this knowledge on object of knowledge and etc. With our to relate this to our practice as well. So if you relate object to our practice, then it will talk about two things. So the two truths, so the conventional truths and ultimate truths.
다들 군도 대담바 대유 님이체 된다디 메치니 된다 된바 된바 투바 뇌보 셰바 메타바 디지 제라체는 된지 단도 못해 봤다와 that's 된다 치바린도와.
So according to for Sautrantika, they assert the definitions of an ultimate truth as a phenomenon that is able to perform a function ultimately, ultimate truth, truly established thing or functioning thing, product, impermanent phenomenon, compounded phenomenon, substance, and specifically characterized phenomenon. These are mutually inclusive. So the definitions of an ultimate truth asserted by Sautrantika is different from that of Vaibhashika.
된다 된바들와 이제 다 된담바 된지 미니 비치도 군조 비치니 다 군조 된바 짐바도 바빠 치세는 이제 다 되다 노데바.
So again, for Sautrantika, they define conventional truth as a phenomenon that is not able to perform a function ultimately. So conventional truth, falsely established, permanent phenomenon, and generally characterized phenomenon are mutually inclusive.
다단다 뎀바니 나샤 시에서와 다단다 뎀바니 나샤 단다 시야 나샤데 뎀바니 나샤데 도데발라 간다 리피젠라 도데발라 농구젠라 도데바니와 다단다 뎀바니 나샤데 리피젠라게 도데바 디게시 싶어 와 리피젠라 도데비 나샤데 농구젠라 도데비 나샤데 다 제라 못하 손바레 농구젠라 사이에 무반 제지 젠라 도데바 비시 시고와 다 무반 제는 가서 저 제라 못 비시 시고와 제라 못 비시 시고래
So this presentation, as I mentioned just now, the presentation of these two truths as mentioned, these presentations are asserted by Sautrantika following reasoning. And Sautrantika following scriptures, they assert two truths similar to Vaibhashika, because they follow Abhidhamma-kosha, right? And Abhidhamma-kosha mainly talks about mainly explained in the context of Vaibhashika, right? So Sautrantika following scriptures, their presentations on two truths are similar to Vaibhashika. So these definitions of ultimate truth and conventional truth, as you can see on this page, then they are asserted by Sautrantika following reasoning.
당가서 된다 된바스 군도 된바스 간다. 다 된다 시바이나 가서 된다바 되지 님비치도 된다 되비 시내에서 뜻이 시우도와 다 된다는 야 디스 고대보다 된다 된바스나 자다 또비 샤차 많이 봐. 된데 정원 군이 여봐라 된다 된바스 자다 또비 샤차 많이 봐. 자다 또비 고 샤차 많이 봐. 된데 정원 군이 여봐. 된데 정원 군이 여봐라 다 된다 된바스.
Because of turn day.
오, 네. 정원이 여봐. 자다 또박이 배 샤자 많이 봐. 자다 또비기 샤자 많이 봐. 된데 정원이 군이 네 여봐지 손자 다 된다 된바스. 네. 좀 다지.
turn day 정원 군이.
오, 된데 정원 군 줘 봐. 네, 정원 군이. 자다 또비 샤스나 정원 군이 두여 말와. 자다 또비 파 샤바이나 정원 군이 두여 말와. 자다 또박이 샤다 많이 봐. 된데 정원이 군이 스투 봐. 장하고 그 장인의 주바 뭐 딘디소다 다 된다데 마스키 시고 단도데 박시 자다 또비 샤참 많이 봐세 자다 또비 파 샤르디 코랑 원에 주요 말 코랑 원에 주요 말와 저 두랑한테 주요 말 코랑 라한 주요 자다 또비 파 샤르디 코랑 라한 주요 말와 자다 또비 샤참 많이 봐 된데 장하고 그 주요 발라 주발라 다 된다데 마스 단도데 박시
they wrong ikone to me baina the kunjo de maro
o de that the kunjo de maro pato bita pashi wa the kunjo de maro dishi
so the definitions of an ultimate truth as mentioned here is a phenomenon that is able to perform a functions ultimately, right? So to understand the definitions of an ultimate truth in a different way is that which is established by its own power without being merely preceded by terms and conceptual thoughts, or imputed by conceptual thoughts or terms. So that is ultimate truth. So I repeat, that which is established by way of its own power without being merely imputed by terms and conceptual thoughts. So if you say that something is imputed by terms and conceptual thoughts, then it means that it doesn't establish by way of its own power. It doesn't establish by way of its own power. So since it is not merely imputed by terms and conditions, it established by way of its own power. So this is ultimate truth. So that so if since is not since it's not imputed by terms and conceptual thoughts, therefore it is an object that established by way of its own power. So because if once it is imputed by terms and conditions, once it is imputed by terms and conceptual thoughts, then it doesn't establish, the object doesn't establish by way of its own power anymore.
다 군저 대바 계셔 시오리 다 도비 따바서도 주비 취데 군저 대비 대다 시오 도비 따바성도 주비 다 간다 도비 따바성도 주비 취데 군저 대바 하시 계셔 시오 도비 따성도 주비 취 그러와 다 도비 따성도 주비 취데 다 간다 군저 대비 된다 되게 시오 그러와 이 간리스나 대대 정화 군에 여바 많이 다 군저 대바 시오디 대대 정화 군에 여바 많이 봐 다다 도비기 여바 따발라 딱 군저 대바스게 시고 다다 또비 요와 예 영화 군이 여바 많이 봐 다다 또비 여바 따바 다다 또비 여바 따발라 딱 군저 대바스게 시와
예 그래서 이 또바지 보러 와야지
다다 또비
다는 또바
다 지나가 된다 시오데 또비 따바성도 주비 최대로 나지 또비 따바성도 주비 최대 군저 대비시니 얘는 참 되고 군저 대비 대상 가지고 그 딜로우디 뜻하나 근데 정화군이 여바 많이 봐다 된다 되고 정화군이 여바 많이 봐 주제 같나 내가 또비 여바 따바래 봐지라고 근데 정화군이 여바 내가 또비 여바 따바라 뛰니 내 군저 대 봐지라고
So the definitions of a conventional truth in the text says a phenomenon that is not able to perform or functions ultimately. So to understand the definitions of a conventional truth in a different way, then conventional truth is a phenomena that is established by mere imputations of conceptual thoughts or conceptuality. So you can understand it as a phenomena that is established by mere imputations of conceptual thoughts and terms, or you can also just understand or just say that a phenomenon that is established by mere imputations of conceptuality or conceptual thoughts. So itself is also sufficient to be a definition of a conventional truth. So since it is a phenomena that has to be established by depending on the imputations of conceptuality and terms, therefore it doesn't exist or establish by way of its own power. Thus, it is a conventional truth.
다 덴바니게 와서 드라시라고 지키시 시우드와 드라시라고 시우디 인디로는 다 얼마래고도 드라시들도와
걸 디가서 가바당 주바
된다 덴바 신이 여와 드라시시도와 당어도 된다 덴바 군도 덴바니 드라시 담번 맞지 시우드와 다 데니지 되겠다 디마신 난가다 버데 단 디마신 난가데 가서 가르스나 다 군도 덴바 샤우드와 디마신 난가데 군도 덴바와 와 디마신 난가데 Limashi Nakada Kunzo Dembaras. Or that Limashi Nakada Kunzo Dembares, Limashi Nakada, that's in Kunzo Dembares. That Kunzo Sewa the Manso tender to deliver. Yeah, Tenjigli below Kunzo Pa Sewa, Toba like a shiver. Toba. The Kunzo Pasava, Toba like a shiver. Or that Tenjigli below Kunzo be. Toba la hiji te ngo dembe na kunzo dembase tenji kare o tenji gilepi lo kunzo ba jerwa ta lo kunzo ba toba kanga tenji gile derwa le sa te kare tenji gi re de ta kanga tenji dan de tenji da le derwa tenji dan de ta toba kani na chu to tenji dan de to urwa o de ta kanga di kunzo ba sewa ta kanga toba la ba obachi kunzo ba sewa ta lo kunzo ba topi ngola dembi chane ta kunzo demba se ba dashi khadu ji yan dio shuwa lo kunzo ba topi ngola dembi na kunzo demba se ta nankate rwa limashi nankate lo kunzo ba topi ngola dembi na ate kunzo demba se nankate
lo kunzo ba topi ngola
dembi na ate kunzo demba se nankate la wa ta nankate kunzo demba rwa kunzo demba lo ga jinsete partina lo kunzo ba topi ngola Dembas da kunzo dembas da dashita ati dashi chira nga chaba di yo mari tanda.
So to talk about the etymology of these two truths. So the first one to talk about is conventional truth, the etymology of conventional truth. Again, etymology is not pervasive here. So etymology of conventional truth is like for example not uncompounded space, non-compounded space or uncompounded space, uncompounded space or non-compounded space. Then it is an example of conventional truth. So when we say conventional truth, then there's different way to translate this word. Then sometimes it can be translated as concealer truth, obscurational truth. So what it means is when we say conventional or concealer or obstructive or obscurational or something like that. Yeah, so when we say concealer, conventional, or obstructive or obstructed, then it refers to conceptual thoughts or conceptions or conceptuality. So something that is conceived by something that is conceived by way of meaning generality or generic image, then that is a conventional truth. Like for example, so when we say conventional truth, so it is true to a conceptual thought that is concealer awareness or obstructive awareness. So it is true to a conceptual thoughts, which is the concealer awareness. So it is conventional truth. So that is conventional truth. Again, this is etymology of a conventional truth or concealer truth. So since it is true to a conceptual thoughts or concealer awareness, therefore it is called a conventional truth.
Oh, 다 군조 바세와 등아서 지나 바또 발이 것이야 지나 지고를 와 로 군조 바세와 군조 바 당아서 된다만 군조 된바 간가도 바 비샤당 도스와 단 니마시 지난 가데 간다 군조 된바에 해서 오여와 군조 된바 이비 주체 가스나 로 군조 바또 바 대ingwala 대비나 군조 된바스 로 군조 바또 바 대ingwala 대비나 군조 된바스 예스와 아버지시와
Yeah. So when we say concealer awareness or obstructive awareness, then it refers to conceptual thoughts. So why do we say that uncompounded space is a conventional truth? So it is a conventional truth because it is true to the conceptual thoughts, which is the concealer awareness.
다 간다 로 근조 바또 바세와 등아서 최 간리나 랑시 의심도 통하라 디브는 근조세를 거든다 랑시 최 간리나 랑하고 오데 랑시 지 오데 ngosung de tuala ta diba kada lo kunzo ba to bati wa rara ge chute ngosung de tuala diba ta ngosung de to yo ma ngosung de tuala dibina ta kunzo de pas kunzo si lo kunzo de wa lo kunzo ba ta kanda to ba lo kunzo ba to ba yin je la chue kan bi na ngosung de chue to yo ma wa ngosung to yo ma wa ta ngosung tuala dide ta kanda ngosung tuala dide wo din za ta chue na rara ngosung de tuala a dibina ta kunzo ba si
就让人给我那样那地长见噻，
然后呢，我让这些吧，去搞的呢，可能我让这些，我得让这的，让这我的，我让这的，我说都通了，但地的不得是，我工作不的，我地的我身上，得讲的工作吧，而且我得给他习惯，让这我说通了，地的工作吧是，对。
Yeah. So in general, it is translated as conventional, then sometimes it is translated as concealer. So when you say it's concealer, means that that which is obscured from directly seeing specifically characterized phenomena, that is the nature or entity of its, that is the nature of phenomena. So that which is obscured from directly seeing the seeing specifically characterized phenomena, which is the nature of which is the nature of its phenomena. Nature of its phenomena. Then is a concealer. Yeah. So when we say conventional or concealer, so it conceal or it obstruct us from directly seeing the specifically characterized phenomena. The nature of those, which is the nature of those phenomena.
lo kunzo ba rwa lo kunzo ba to pi ngo denba ina ya kunzo denba yi bi chaba yo ma res la
lo
kunzo ba rwa to pi ngo denba ina ya kunzo denba yi ma res yi bi chaba yo res lo
lo kunzo
ba to pi ngo lo kunzo ba ye ko lo kunzo ba to pi ngo denba yi na ta kunzo denba si da shi de shi ba o ta dila lo kunzo ba to pi ngo denba ina ya kunzo denba yi bi chaba yo ma res e nge ba yi go yo ma res lo.
So concealer or conventional means that for obstructive or obstructions. So it obstructs from directly seeing the specific characteristic, which is the nature of its phenomena. Yeah, which is the nature of the nature of respective phenomena. So again, when I say that etymology of a conventional truth is not pervasive, means that even though something is true to the conventional awareness or to a concealer awareness, however, it is not necessarily conventional truth. So even though we say that, the etymology of conventional truth is something that which is true to a concealing awareness, however, there is no pervasive. So no pervasive means that even though it is true to a concealing awareness, however, it is not necessarily that it is a conventional truth.
Ta kunzo demba da ite ta ma tu tenda demba la ta tenda demba pumba de tenda demba yin sala urwa ta pumba de tenda demba urwa ta pumba de tenda demba shi shabi da shi de karsina ta anda lo ten tambi shipping wo dembi lo ten tambi shipping wo dembi na ta tenda demba lo ten tamba se wa de no yin la ma chi shi ba se
lo tambi shipping wo la
lo ten tambi shipping wo la demba sinza ta tenda demba se pumba de anda tenda demba Shishade, Roa, and that Deba Inde, that was a Dashide, Lo Tantambi shipping what Dema is. That Lo Tantamba was the Karinis, Noila Manti Shepa, that was a child to go. I was so much. Was so Noila Manti shipping what a Davina. Noila Mantua, that was so the Kojan to go. Noila Manti Shepa Mola, that Davis, Lo Tantambi what Demas. Is an the Katuna, no Tantambi shipping what. Demba Suza, then that demba as the
Thì cái dân năng yêu là mà chui shipping ngô là tiền bạc insan yang tiền tiền bạc yang tiền bạc gì
cái nói là mà chỉ xếp vào sự nguyên số để đặt cả đất nguyên số đấy
nguyên số thì gì điều đó
nguyên số thì xếp đấy.
So then the etymology of ultimate truth, like for example, a pot is an ultimate truth. So the etymology of ultimate truth is that which is true to an ultimate awareness. That which is true to an ultimate awareness. Then that is the etymology of ultimate truth. So we say, then we give the example is like a pot. Pot is an ultimate truth. So because it is true to an awareness, it is true to an awareness or consciousness that is not mistaken with its with the appearing object, an ultimate awareness. Then we give the example pot. So pot is an ultimate truth. So pot is an ultimate truth because it is true to a consciousness that is not mistaken with the appearing object.
Jedama lungi jendawe doje batungwe ban zeji jendawe buke shigurwa ta gwe ban zeji jedama to shigurwa da de patal chachi.
Yeah, so the definitions of an ultimate of two truths for Sautrantika is different from that of Vaibhashika. So Vaibhashika, their presentations of ultimate truths and the Sautrantika presentations of two truths are different. So and the presentations of two truths here, as you see on the text, is asserted by followers, Sautrantika following reasoning. Sautrantika following reasoning, they assert these are asserted by Sautrantika following reasoning. So for Sautrantika following scriptures, their presentations of two truths are the same as the presentation of two truths in Vaibhashika, because Sautrantika following scriptures, they follows Abhidhamma Kosha, which mainly talks about Vaibhashika. Yeah. So again, existence have two divisions. So when existence is divided, then it has two divisions: negative phenomena and affirmative phenomena. So negative phenomena or positive phenomena as well. So sometimes affirmative phenomena is translated as positive phenomena. So the definitions of a negative phenomenon is an object realized by means of the mind apprehending it, eliminating its object of negation. So in other way, in other way, the definitions of an affirmative phenomenon or positive phenomenon is an object realized by means of the mind apprehending it, not eliminating its object of negation. In other words, an object realized by the mind apprehending it through not eliminating its object of negation.
Megata Manga New, yes, Gabata Megata Manga New, yes.
So existence is divided into negative phenomena and positive phenomena. So then to talk about negative phenomena, then it can be divided into two, non-affirming negatives and affirming negatives.
The Megata Gabata la Kanda Megata Mangani, the Megata la Dimashi Nanka, Godi, Tony, so yes, and Dimashi Nanka Godi, Tony Tam, and Megara.
So to talk about the first one, non-affirming negatives, the illustrations of the first or the examples of non-affirming negatives are non-compounded space, true cessations, and emptiness. So all these are non-affirming negatives.
That's the mega the manga new issue. That I'm putting on the Gabas, that Gabas la Gaja music chip, it's Pobasha, that Gabi City, that is Shura, Rangirua, Gaja, music, Gaja, music chip, it's that Pobasha, Gabi City, Shura. Chip to Gasha. The Lola Chit can get no Chowdy, Gaja Jimmy Lola Chap with Church and a Gavala. Not a pin shavana, Shindra, Lanchi, Meba, Lanchi Meba, Lanchi Meba Chawa, Lanchi Meba Chavala, Gaja, Lanchi number the shower. Gaja launching number the Machana, a Yidla, Lanchi Meba Chayo Marwa.
Gaja de launching in number.
Oh, Gaja launching the Chabura. Gaja. Shindla launching never Chawala Gaja launching number the shower. Gaja the launching wa Shindla launching never say what that mega watchna. In the launching never Lola Gaja cheer Karsna. Tambo a Chawala the launching never the Chawala that Gaja launching number shower. Gaja launching in the and this was that the Gaja launching this. Hakka between the got in the launching never shower. Or the number Jason, Gaja Jason, Gaja launching the Hakka between Jason, the got between the get the launching never chapel was it, or the Jason was up to that is just on Gaja Jim, Gaja the Hakka between Islam, and that we did sometimes.
So to talk about negative phenomena, so the definitions in the text says that is an object realized by the mind apprehending it through eliminating its object of negation. So through eliminating its object of negation. So when we say, when something appears in our mind, then it appears in our mind through eliminating its object of negation. So when something appears in our mind, it appears, for a negative phenomena to appears in our mind, it appears in our mind through eliminating its object, through eliminating the object of negation. So eliminating the object of negations or refuting the object of negation. So this means the same thing. So to give you an example, in order for non-existence of elephant in this place to appear in our mind, in order for non-existence of elephant to appear in our mind, first the object of negation, which is the elephant, has to appear in our mind. Then we realize the non-existence of elephant. So this non-existence of elephant is an example of non-affirming negatives. So now first we talk about the negative phenomena. So negative phenomena is something realized through eliminating its object of negation. So in order to realize the non-existence of elephant, then we have to eliminate the object of negation, right? So the object of negations here is the elephant, because in order for non-existence of elephant to appear in our mind, then we have to eliminate the object of negation. So the object of negation for in this case is an elephant. sorry, in this case is elephant. So through eliminating the object of negation, elephant, then one realized the non-existence of elephant. And this is also an example of non-affirming negatives. So there are two types of negatives, non-affirming negatives and affirming negatives. So the illustration of the first one, which is non-affirming negatives, then the first example is non-compounded or uncompounded space. So in order for space to appear to one mind, to appear in one's mind, then since it's a negative phenomena, so we have to eliminate its object of negations, right, according to the definitions of a negative phenomena. So in order to realize the object, which is space, then one is realized through eliminating the object of negation. So the object of negation to be eliminated in order to realize space is the mere negations of obstructive contact. So the object of negation is mere eliminations or mere negations of obstructive contact. So it is the object of negation. So space is space appears in one's mind or appears to one mind through eliminating its object of negation, which is the mere negations of obstructive contact. So because of this, then this example, uncompounded space, then is an example of non-affirming negatives. So to non-affirming negatives. Another example for non-affirming negatives is non-existence of thought. Non-existence of thought, or words expressing non-existence of thought. So when we say, in order to realize this non-existence of thought, then it is realized through eliminating its object of negations, right? So its object of negations is thought. So thought is the object of negation to be eliminated in order to understand, or in order to realize the non-existence of thought. So non-affirming negatives is also means that non-affirming also means that other phenomena, or it doesn't affirm other phenomena. So it is a negative phenomena that doesn't it doesn't imply or affirm other phenomena. So it's through mere eliminations of its object of negation, which is thought, then the non-existence of thought is realized. So it doesn't imply or affirm other phenomena.
다만데 내가게 신이스나 된다스나 도즈란디고와 랑스도 빌리 랑 가자 제정 도바 샤와디 내가 신스르와 오 랑스도 빌리 랑 가자 제정 도바 샤와디 내가 신이스 단 신제네 비나 공반 내바지 가 공반 이메 공반 내바 제바다 보아 어디 맞아 다 난카 다 보아 다 난카다 동이다 고딘다 그래서 맞아 내가 신이시 다 위해서 좋아
So to know, to understand to be certain of the definitions of a negative phenomena is an object realized by means of the mind apprehending it, eliminating its object of negation. So by means of the mind apprehending it, eliminating its object of negation, or it can be that which is realized by an awareness explicitly apprehending it. Through eliminating its object of negation. So these are the definitions of a negative phenomena. If you refer to other texts, then you will see slightly different definitions of a negative phenomenon. However, it means the same thing. An object realized by means of the mind apprehending it, eliminating its object of negation, or an object that which is realized by an awareness explicitly apprehending it through eliminating its object of negation. So the example for then it can be divided into two, non-affirming negatives and affirming negatives. And the example for the first one, non-affirming negatives are non-compounded space, true cessations, emptiness, and non-existence of thought, for example.
가자 그래서 집이 또 마셔와 강시라 다 가자 값이 슈드 치신 편바디 가자 값이 치신 편바디 딱 많이 치미시
오다이티 마인가이나 왕수기
어디는 대화를 하시죠
나 마인가에 저기 나비세리 나오고
대화를 하시죠 내가 마인가니가 생각을 하시죠
마인가에 빅세월 Yeah. Please hold on. Maninga. Yeah. Affirming negatives and affirming negatives. Affirming negatives. Oh, you're really like on that. The 당긴 the 마인가 세대 마인가
지금까지 문제 어디 jessun
마인가 올라 천이대로 하죠 가정고 수집의 추기 또 차오지 맞아
가자까지도 추기 편바디
so
내가 생각해서
내가 생각해서 Yeah. 내가 지금 생이대 당기대 가르치시기로 디 메가기 체이세 대한 디가자 최신 마페마데로
메가의 랑스 리장 가자 제자 또 마셔 이까 데보샤지와
아주 어디 가자디 비샤나로라 데 땡아데
디 시샤자이는 난 시샤와이는 디 이샤는 지금 랑스 인들마다
메가세데로
가자 가자니 스티치 또 마셔 가자 까시디 치 예 롱와나 페바디 가스와 취임 페바라는 거다
취임 페바라
가자니 스티치 또 마셔 강시 가자 까시디 취임 롱와나 페바디 가스 취임 페바라는
Yeah, so the definitions that you can
see. 그 제도 또 마셔서는 리부터 가르자는 거지. 랑리스트 대지 간부 랑리스트 인데
가바이나야 나데 메가이나
가자디 제도 또 마셔.
근데 메가로 이때 가서 가바기 체니로 메가기 체니 메가기 체니는 남베체리게 페샤나홀라데 도나디로 맞아. Yep, so so the definition for non-affirming negatives. So the definition for non-affirming negatives is a phenomena that is not realized by an awareness. A phenomena that is not realized by an awareness, explicitly realizing it through explicitly eliminating its object of negation. Because sorry, I found it. So sorry. So definition for non-affirming negatives is whatever is realized by a way of explicitly eliminating the object of negation, other phenomenon is not implied or affirmed in place of the negated object in an awareness. So this is the definitions of non-affirming negatives. So whatever is realized by way of explicitly eliminating the object of negation, other phenomena is not implied or affirmed in place of the negated object in an awareness. Then that is the definitions of non-affirming negatives. Then the definitions for affirming negatives is whatever is realized by way of explicitly eliminating the object of negation, other phenomenon is applied or affirmed in place of the negated object. So the difference between the definitions of affirming negatives and non-affirming negatives is non-affirming negatives is something realized through explicitly eliminating the object of negation. Then other phenomena is not implied or affirmed. So this is called non-affirming negatives. So then affirming negatives is so something is realized by explicitly eliminating the object of negation. Then other phenomenon is implied or affirmed in place of the negated object. So that therefore it is the definitions of affirming negatives. Something is affirmed or implied. Then is the definitions of affirming negatives.
Oh, digital. That was my God. My God, Gaja is GB. See, Toba Shawakajita, Gaja Kashi, the church in Yambat and Mingansi. Which is a teacher.
I can get it. Mahinga de line. Let's say.
But that Mahinga want to change it with the pen. Umba Mahipan Lobata. Mahinga Senshawaina. Pen a Umba Mahipan Lobata, but Mahinga, yes. One Mahipan Lobati. Tabati. The Karisna, they wrongness to be Lee Gaja. Umba Mahiba, the Mus Kabi. Should the top of him, yes. Lee Gaja, Umba Maiba Mus, Umba Maiba Mus, Kabi should the Pumba Himba, Tobina, the Mainga, yes, Umba Maiba Lopade, Maingash, or Maingari. Oh, that the Chemashavada, Umba de Gabama, Umba Dubarwa, Umba Koran Dubash, Umba Dubash, Umba Maiba Lopade, Maingash, Umba Mebade, Megash. That the Pumba Kuna Tibulajan, Umba Meba said that Megarwa. Umba Maiba and Lopa and Mainga. Pumba or Duba. What is it? The Chipaship.
Rangu sutobe kakja.
Da pumba mai pa lopa ta de mai gares de kaisna. Rangu pumba de mai pa lopa rangu sutobe lui gaja pumba mai pa kawas. Pumba mai pa meska. Gaja pumba mai pa de mai pa lopa se lo wa. Mai pa lopa se lo de pumba mai pa meska bi shudo da pumba phewa. Shudo pumba phewa. Pumba phewa pumba to ta kana. Pumba to ra.
Pumba pemba, yana pumba toba.
We did it. Pimba toba sirwa. Yanda. We did it. Gasha de kasana pumba mai pa meska wa. Pumba mai pa le lopa loda. Mai pa lopa so di lodi de gasha pumba mai pa meska bi shuda ta pumba toba da. Pimba.
So the second one is affirming negatives. So affirming negatives illustration for this one is opposite of not being a thing, and the appearance of a pot as opposite of not being a pot to a conception apprehending a pot. So so illustrations of the second, which is affirming negatives. Another example is opposite. It says that opposite of not being a thing, right? So it is also translated as opposite from non-thing. Opposite from non-thing. So then another example is opposite from non-pot. Opposite from non-pot is an example of affirming negatives. So it is an affirming negatives because affirming negatives because through explicitly eliminating the object of negation, which is non-pot. Pot is implied, or pot is realized. Yeah. So when we say opposite from non-pot is an illustration of affirming negatives because through explicitly eliminating non-pot, opposite from non-pot. So through explicitly eliminating its object of negation, which is non-pot, pot is implied, or pot is realized. So therefore, this opposite from non-pot is an example of affirming negatives. So it is pot is implied, pot is affirmed. Yeah. So affirming negatives means that some other phenomena is implied or affirmed through eliminating the object of negation. So so the example opposite from non-pot. So non-pot is the object of negation. So through especially eliminating non-pot, pot is affirmed, or pot is realized. So to give you an overall picture is when we say pot. So pot is a positive phenomenon. So back to here. So pot, pot is a positive phenomenon. In other words, it's an affirmative phenomenon. So non-existence of pot is a non-affirming negatives. Opposite from non-pot is an affirming negatives. So you can see, right? So when we say pot, so pot is a positive phenomena or affirmative phenomena. Then non-existence of pot is an example of non-affirming negatives. It is a non-affirming negatives. Opposite from non-pot is an affirming negatives. So you can see the difference here.
Gapa the Drupa Mega Gapa the Kada Mega the Manga Niki Shigua, that Drubas, it is so. I want to Pumba Tibola Quadan Church, the Pumba Tibol Pajaj and Tab Debo is a rich Pumba Kona Jedam Pumba is loaded Duba Chatter, Duba, Bakuna Duba. That Pumba Meba is loaded Mega Chatter. Pumba May Jedi City Tanda there. A Gasha Pumba Chetama the She, Shula can pay your money. Pumba May City Gasha Pumba Chezamato, Chula, Kayam Pingo Maris, did my fiance that Nega is Nega. That Pumba Maipa Lopa, Asmadita, Mainga Chawas. Pumba Maipa Lopa, Sodua, Mo Maipa Lopa, Maingash. That dig, Pumba Maipa Lopa, Gasha Karidism, Gasha Pumba Maipa is covered. Pumba Maipa and Lopa said it. The Gasha Pumba Maipa is Kabi Shula, that Pumba him. But nobody is. That the Chibasha, but Chibola Shadina, but the churches that were Umba Meba, Umba Kuran, Umba Maiba, Umba, this was Parade, but the churches.
Yeah, so again, to understand these three things. So first, existence is divided into two, negative phenomena and positive phenomena. In other words, affirmative phenomena. So negative phenomena can be further divided into two, non-affirming negatives and affirming negatives. So to understand these three, non-affirming negatives, affirming negatives, and positive phenomena, then we give an example. To give an example is, through the example of pot. So pot is a positive phenomena. Non-existence of pot is non-affirming negatives. So why do we say that non-existence of pot is a non-affirming negatives? Because it merely eliminates the object of negation without implying or without affirming anything in place of the negated object. Then opposite from non-pot, the third example. So the opposite from non-pot is an affirming negatives. So opposite from non-pot is an affirming negatives because through eliminating the object of negation, through explicitly eliminating the object of negation, which is non-pot, it implies or it affirms pot in place of the negated object. So affirming negatives. So through eliminating the object of negation, which is non-pot, it implies or affirms pot in place of the negated object.
That people get in the Baronti, she had the book in there. Jean used to be there, Gaja is a chile, Tobasha, my image to be Chinese. That was the sitting hard work. Jean used to be there, Jean Gaja is a chile, Tobasha, my image to be Chinese. The Wakatu. And the Gabi is in the world.
Mainga the walla. So we have talked about the definitions of non-affirming negatives and affirming negatives. So the definitions of positive phenomena is a phenomenon that is not realized by an awareness explicitly realizing it through explicitly eliminating its object of negation. So negative phenomena, they explicitly eliminating its object of negations, right? So for positive phenomena, that is a phenomena that is not realized by an awareness explicitly realizing it through explicitly eliminating its object of negation. So it doesn't, because of the so it is a phenomena that is not realized by an awareness through explicitly eliminating its object of negation. So that is the definitions of positive phenomena. A phenomenon that is not realized by an awareness, explicitly realizing it through explicitly eliminating its object of negation.
That I think was the repeating the Drupa Pena Pumba, the Shatsa in Bataye. Or that Pumba de Drupa in Jetsun of G or Devil. And that Pumba, she 미기 제바짱라 때네 다 공부대 로이드 차 요래면 가자 찍기 말했어 공부 로이드 차와라 가자 찍기 요 말했어 공부 시 제바짱라 때네 되게 로이드 차기 요래서 공부 되더라 로이드 차와 요거는 막 요래 간다 가자 찍이 돈이게 차고 말했어 와 가자 찍기 요 말했어
이 공부 시 집에
공부 시 집에 공부 시 제바짱라 때네 그 공부 되게 로이드 차지 요리에서 이 가셔 집을 보니까 자꾸 말이에서 와
공부로 유튜브 차이로
차그리에서
내가 가자데
다른데 공부서 최대다 때 너무 잘라 간다 가셔 집발아 뜨고 말이에서 그때 가셔 집발 뜨면 그봐 다음에서 가와 공부 수 셰파 참아 두버다 그래서 공부 가와 수 좋아 수 셰파 참아래 그다 두버와
And we say that pot is a positive phenomena because merely depending on the expressions of pot can be a pot appears as an object of awareness. Pot appears as an object of an awareness without depending on eliminating its object of negation. Yeah, so merely depending on the expressions of pot and without depending on the elimination of its object of negation, pot appears as an object of an awareness. So therefore, pot is said to be a positive phenomena. So other than the example of pot, then a pillar, form, consciousness, and product, then all these are positive phenomena.
당가서 때이다. 다 마이가라 망가서 디스만데 시말 헬레 지바이나 마이가들라. 가자 치신 펜바 아시 내가 마이가디 자기 생일이 샤여와. 다 치신 펜바다 치신 무슨 펜바 슈러 펜바. 니 슈니가는 뭐 갑도지 펜바스 시여. 시. 다도 저거 시르마 레레만 세지리 라바이나 또 과다 쳐도 보여와. 마이가들라와. 마이가라 치신 펜지 거리 얘나. 치신 펜지 거리나. 다 치신 무슨 펜바. 한번 슈러면 니바 니 슈니가는 선바 갑도진 펜바 시바세 우리 리마이스만 시지 와 그거
Yeah, so to talk about affirming negatives. So if affirming negatives is divided by way of how it implies or affirm others' phenomena. So if affirming negatives is divided by way of how by way of how it implies or affirms other phenomena, then it can be divided into four. So the first one is directly affirming other phenomena. The second one is indirectly affirming other phenomena. And the third one is both directly and indirectly affirming other phenomena. And the last one is occasionally affirming other phenomena. So there are four. The first one is directly affirming. The second one is indirectly affirming. The third one is both directly and indirectly affirming. And the last one is occasionally affirming.
다 담보가서 최근에서 펜바스와 들마 지샤 담보와 들을 지들려오디 다 리메비 타 시바디 다 리메비 타 최근에서 펜그리에서 다 최근에서 펜그리 가르 펜거스다 리메비 타세 다 많이 걸와 다 리메비 타세 로디 지비다티 다 리메비 타 히지비다 요로와 이 다티게 다랑이 가자 리여바데 치스나 까와로와 리메비 타세 타세 로디 랑이 가자 리메바티 가자데 리여바드로와 다랑 가자 리여바데 치스나 까니 이 타등에서 펜바다 간다 타등에서 땡위디 다 최신에서 펜바시 되와 리메비 타세 로디 랑 가자 리여바데 치스나 까니 이 타등에서 펜바선자 그래서 땡바스다 다 최신에서 펜바시 되와.
So the example for the first one, directly affirming other phenomena. So Then the example is the expression saying a land without mountain. I'll say the expressions or the terms saying a land as a land without mountain. So this is an example of directly affirming other phenomena. So we are talking about affirming phenomena. So this is the first divisions of affirming phenomena. Affirming negatives. So this is the first divisions of affirming negatives, which is directly affirming other phenomena. So the example is land without mountain. So then since these are negatives, then it eliminates object of negations, right? So the object of negations here is the existence of mountain. So in order to understand without mountain, then one realize it through eliminating its object of negation, which is existence of mountain. Then it implies other phenomena. It implies or it affirms other phenomena. It directly implies or affirms other phenomena, right? So the other phenomena here is the land itself, the land, the plane itself, then is directly affirmed.
담에 또야기 가샤도 가야 추지 담에다 간사게 담에 또야기 주파 두시지 된다 디스 디체도다 추지 담에다 간사게 담에 속 또야기 두시지 주파 치고 좋아 뭐 짓된다 또야 치들에 가서 이게 가봐 이신에 지레 차도 좋아
대단한 가자 가와 지바
좋아 지다 가자 지바 가바세 이게 로제 와서 추지 담에다 간사게 담에 또야기 두시 준시 뭐탑 되게 비치에다.
And so now we keep talking about eliminating each object of negations, negating each object of negations. So why do we talk about this? Is because these are the method. So through this, this is the method to which realize selflessness. So these are the method to realize selflessness, the selflessness of person and the selflessness of phenomena. So when we talk about eliminating or eliminations of object of negation, negations of object of negation, all these is the method, is the proof, is the reason to realize selflessness.
렌지 첨다 렌지서 지난 미로와 다 전부 야바라 니바 세마자와 시비 추기 슈나 벤바리에 들리게 버려와 렌지 첨부 니바 세마자와 시비 드라디 로라 간다 와 렌지 첨부 니바 세마자와 시비 드라디기 다랑게 가샤 니바 세사와 시시라 까니 다 제모 사와데 아슈라 벤바
가샤 데 니바 세사와
니바 세사와 까와 가샤 니바 세사와데 nimbo se maza ke pati jibbe garang gaja nimba se sawade sisila kawara ta khanda nimba se maza se nimbo se sawade gaja wa se sawade sisila kani ta khanda ta chemo sawade ta shula phen wa chemo sawade ta ko se sana sagre ko sanda ko jaba chade wa sembo wa ta sembo ide ta nimbo se maza se lawdi ta ko chemo se sawa ta chesa 가르친 타서 코 잡아시고 차대로. 니모도 제모니까 마사나 코 잡아차게요 말아.
Yeah. So then the second divisions of affirming negatives is indirectly affirming. So indirectly affirming, the example for this is affect Devadatta eating food during the daytime. Not eating food during the daytime. Affect Devadatta not eating food during the daytime. So the terms expressing affect Devadatta not eating food during the daytime is an example for indirectly affirming negatives phenomena. So now since it is a negative, it eliminates object of negations, right? So the object of negations to be eliminated in this example is eating food during the daytime. Eating food during the daytime is the object of negation. Then it indirectly implies or affirms something, right? So the phenomena that it indirectly affirms or implies is Devadatta eating at night. So why do we say that it is certain that Devadatta eat at night? Is because the word fat. So because Devadatta is fat. So if Devadatta doesn't eat during the daytime, then by he is fat means that Devadatta eats at night. So it indirectly implies or affirms that Devadatta eats at night.
Da shula phimba derwa. Da ngue shunika la phimba range chi ngue shunika la phimba as derwa. Da ngue shunika la phimba da heji tsembo nimba se nazawa riba mai ba yo jibi ngue shunika phimba. Heji tsembo nimba se mazawa de riba mai ba yes. Da rwa kamo mai ba yes lora. Da riba mai ba yo jibi da ngue shunika la phimba da phimba ba mo shwa.
So for the third one, both directly and indirectly affirming negatives. Then the example is a fat Devadatta not eating food during the daytime and is not thin. So the terms expressing a fat Devadatta not eating food during the daytime is not and he is not slim. And he's not slim. So this is an example for directly and indirectly affirming negative.
Da linji tsembo nimba se mazawa li riba mai ba yo jibi dadi. Ati dadwa. Ini dadi da karaka shula karti wasna. Nimba se mazawa de nimba se sawa de kalirwa. Da nimba se sawa gaja de kane. Da tsemo sawa de shula tembachi. Tsemo sawa de shula tembachi. Da nishunika la phimba gurwa da riba mai ba ngos tim da kana riba mai ba de ngos jorwa nimba se mazawa riba mai ba yoba shije ba de hirwa wa da riba mai ba yoba ngos tim da kana da riba mai ba yoba de ngos jo de nishunika la da ten gudwa heji tsembo nimba se mazawa li riba mai ba yoba shije ba da tigi da nimba se sawa de kane semo se sawa de shula temba da riba mai ba yoba de ngus temba da ngi shuni ga la tenso.
So this example of fat Devadatta not eating food during the daytime and he is not slim and he's not slim. So this is so the term expressing this is an example for both directly and indirectly affirming negatives. So the object of negations to be eliminated is eating food during the daytime. So this is the object of negation. So this is negated. And then it indirectly, it directly and indirectly affirms something, right? So it indirectly affirms that or implies that Devadatta eats at night. So this is indirectly affirming, and directly affirming is not slim. He's not slim is directly affirming.
Oh, dijirwa. Da shiba de ngazirwa. Da shiba de dira khanda.
Taptu.
Mishirwa. Da jeri de transiri karu de ngebala. Da michi khanda jeri de transiri karu de ngebala. Da transiri mi shijebe rwa. De kato ji phimba. Asta de kato ji phimba. Da de ma deshi wonde rwa. Kato ji phimba yese. Da de enda de dirwa. Da de Katuman Majan Disaro. Michikanda, Jerry the Transiri Kanu, the Negri, Esta, Mide, Yami, Jerry the Transiri Kanu, Rida, set up a Jasha Jara, that is, Kanu, yes, that Kanu, the inside Shilla, that Transiri Mare, is a Jodi, Transiri Mare, Jodi, Taco Jerry, but that town of Ponu, yes, Katosh Ponu, yes, that Mide, Mijipina, Jerry the transit is recount that thing never is one. The real loaded that Dejila, that transit remarries, transit remi, Jody, transit remi, Jody, that Katoji, that Jerry in the phone. That Katoji Jerry in the phone. Yes,
so the example for the fourth division of affirming negatives is occasionally affirming negatives, occasionally affirming. So the example for this is a person is definitely a person is either a royal lineage or Brahmin lineage, and then it continues saying that he is not a Brahmin lineage. So the terms expressing this then is an example for occasionally affirming negatives, because in this context, then it means that that person is a royal family, is of royal lineage. So the example for this is that person is either a royal lineage or a Brahmin lineage, and he is not a Brahmin lineage. So the term expressing this statement is an example for occasionally affirming. So because in this context, then since he is not a Brahmin, then he is of a royal lineage.
That this kind of the theory, the Gyaltsen, this Kodan, trade away is what. Chidang was a Lozon Chong, Lozon, really was to that did you what?
Chiwa did to Susana.
That
which is the Kamachuma.
Towards Shaggy, that
one at and do it. You know,
because what is college to
Kali user.
Dima Walmati, Tango Maibal, no, but the principle of moment with that in Robert Savachi. That you're probably the cheated Hadis knee level. Your probably cheated
Pechara
or patient. Cheated Hadis knee level. That cheated Hadis knee level answer down with Jig that Hadik is in the magic loud. Gis or so my image, Jig so my image. So my image, Jig. So each Hadiki. So my church in the Gigaman Rosamara, so my church Jigitini. So each Hadiki. So I cheer in the Tadi in Bashiarwa. But I'm with Jigitin, the Hadiki the magic.
Yeah. So as you have gone through, you have studied science before, philosophy before, so then you might find it, you all might know this piece of information. So to continue the text, then again, existence can be divided into two: single phenomena and different phenomena. So the definitions of single phenomena is a phenomenon that is not diverse. So the definitions of a single phenomena is a phenomenon that is not diverse, and the definitions of different phenomena is phenomena that is diverse. A phenomena that is diverse then is a different phenomena.
The Hadiki in the Hako, Deroa. That's it. The level, the Zimbich, the Dimbichi is that level. I'm with the Hadiki in the Shimbachi, Jigitini, so my image, Jigitini, Hadiki, so each Hadiki. But I'm with the Nishida Dinishaba. That's Zimbich, the Dimbichi.
Yeah, so before we talk about the divisions of single phenomena, then we have to be sure that we have to understand the definitions of single phenomena and different phenomena. So the definitions of single phenomena is a phenomena that is not diverse, and different phenomena is phenomena that is diverse.
That Zimbichi, the Dimbichi, Nilaudua. That Zimbichi, the Dimbichi, Nis Leodi. That Zimbichi, the Hija, the Chitseta, so that's a Dembani Kishu. Tabashin Sekundo Dembanakanda. Tabashin the Kundo Deman, that Tabashin the Kundo Deman, Tapata, that you put the Rosera, Chinsera, Takanda, Kundo Demba, Zimbato, Tapachin, the Chisharwa. Takanda, the Zimbichi, the 시제의 진세 다 보았을 거와. 다 진비지스 로가의 진세 가르스는 진비지스와데 대지 먼저 군조 대모와서 된다데 로 군조 봐 또봐 뭐라 되지 다 되는 거니 대모 아래서
그 군조 봐
로 군조 봐 또비 대응 뭐라 되지 되는 뭐 대봐 송자 다 진바래 해서 거다 로와 로 군조 봐 또봐 이로와 로 군조 봐 또비 뭐라 대바래 다 먼저 진세다 난카도서도 로 군조 봐 또비 뭐라 되지 되는 뭐 대봐 송자 다 진바래 해서 진비지 로와 진비지 진바세와데 네이바 진비지스와
다바세 시자 다바 지센
시자 다바 지센 군도 덴바와 군도 덴바 송자 다 간다 다 난칼라잖아 디그레 시자잖아 디지바레 시자데 지센스 진비지리 해세 진비지 이비 준세데 로 군도 봐 또바 대응어라 덴바레데 다 되나 덴바 말해서 와 대가 나시 또바 대응어라 나와 나시 되나 대가 요 말해서 뭐다 와
Yeah, so single phenomena can be divided into false singles and true singles. Object of knowledge in general, or permanent phenomena, conventional phenomena, generally characterized phenomena that we have gone through before. Then they are examples of false singles. So why they are false single is because even though it is true to conceptual thoughts, which is a concealing awareness, it is not true in reality. It is true to conceptual thoughts, which is the concealing awareness. However, it is not true in reality. So therefore, it is called false singles. So in other words, is because it doesn't exist in reality as it appears.
로아 달로 된담비 시빙고 로 된담비 시빙고 된바 송자 다 간다 된바리 했어요. 달로 된담비 가서 무슨 나요 만트이로 로아 나요라 만트이 해봐서 가서 지시 많이 봐. 로아 나요라 만트이 해봐 된고라 된바 송자 대대다 내가 된바리 했어요. 다 이제 가서 또봐 로 군조바 또봐 지시 뭐라 된바 송자
So then the functioning thing and impermanent phenomenon are examples of true singles. So functioning thing such as pot and other impermanent phenomena, then they are examples of true singles. And they are called true singles because it is true to the ultimate consciousness, ultimate awareness. It is true. Since it is true to ultimate awareness, then therefore they are called true singles. So meaning that because yeah, so ultimate awareness means that they are not a mistaken awareness with regard to its appearing object. So they are not mistaken consciousness. They are unmistaken consciousness. They are unmistaken consciousness with regard to its appearing object. So since it is since functioning things such as pots are true to an ultimate awareness, therefore they are the examples of true singles. They are called true singles.
Zimba sewa nga lo kunzo bengo la tena tena ma de sa pe shawa ina dire
zimba
lo zimba ro lo kunzo ba to ba de mo la de tena ma de ba se de pe shawa ina kansa da to ban jing danji jo ro
zimbe ji sa de re
zimba se lo kunzo ba ma de ba zimba se ta lo kunzo ba nga so pe ro lo kunzo ba to bi de ngola tena dengu mare se pe shawaina maza da to banji bi danji de kanza da to banji bi danji de la wa kanza ge da lo de ngola kanza ge da de temba es kanza da to banji bi danji de ngola kanza da to ba temba re de ngola da to ba temba re de tena tani la da to ba yo mare es jimba es wa tena da to ba yo marwa jimba es te nashi da ta banji bi to ba yorwa da ta banji bi to ba da khrom da barwa da mata ba sinza da ta banji bi to ba yorwa da ta banji bi tanji de ngola da ta ba e temba re de ngola da ta ba de temba re de tena da ta ba de barwa as tena da mata ba as o da de no kunzo ba as de ngola tinga tana tinga mare se ga pe chana就是这个样。我的嘴巴强吧，我的嘴巴强。
So basically, when we say false, it is true to, it is true to concealing awareness, but it is not true in reality. Even though it is true to concealing awareness, however, it is not true in reality. So it is false. So that is what it means by false. So, for example, So, for example, because of this self-grasping, because of this self-grasping, conceptions of self, conceptions of self. Self of person, So, for example, self-grasping. So, grasping that person as having a self. So such self-grasping, a person exists as having a self. It is true that to this self-grasping, it is true that person exists as having a self. However, in reality, person do not exist as having a self. So similarly, when we say a permanent grasping as permanent, like for example, grasping sound as permanent. So to such grasping, it is true that sound is permanent. However, in reality, there is no permanent sound. So it's not true in reality.
That is a number that on the Mansu that choosing a missing Wachadi, Kindigamati Koran, Jiwa Sera Tomo Nobanipa, Tipa Savakana Tani, they can understand Chikoba and Middle Tria, Jiwa Samuchi, with the rich Pane Chip, was a more Chivaina, or thing was choosing the work, Missy was the Peter Chimney in the rest.
So we'll stop here, and next class, in coming class, then I will start from functioning thing and impermanent phenomenon are examples of true singles. So we'll stop here, and we do not have time for question and answer. So I will go straight to doing dedications. So we dedicate the roots of virtue that we accumulated, especially through these Dharma discussions, for Buddha Dharma to spread in order, for Buddha Dharma and also for sentient beings as well. And we also dedicate these roots of virtue to all upholders of Buddha's teachings. Mainly, he's known as the Dalai Lama, to live eons long, excellent health, and turn the wheel of the holy wishes be accomplished instantaneously, and enlightened activities be spread in all directions, all directions. And we also dedicate these roots of virtue, especially to our beloved teacher, Gyaltsen Lama Zopa Rinpoche. May the unmistaken reincarnations of Rinpoche be swiftly returned and continue to turn the wheel of Dharma just like before, and so that we have the opportunity to continue to receive the Dharma teachings from Rinpoche. So we dedicate these roots of virtue to all sentient beings, especially those who have Dharma connections with LDC, and in particular, we dedicate these roots of virtue to Candy's mother. So may Candy's mother, negativities accumulated be purified, negativities be purified immediately, and obscurations be purified immediately, and quickly obtain a higher rebirth, and upon which quickly achieve the state of enlightenment. Kewa di tendang jowa kuna kambe na kewa jizu lo sang java yi tembe nimbo rindo se je jo chanchu senjo rimbo je ma ke pana ki gyu jik yamba me bayang kone kondo pewa jo Vichita Kimba Dam Kundo Sambo De Yang De Shin De De Da Kungi Jesu Da Lo Je Kewa Di Da Dam Je Rab Do Ngo Tong Yi Tawa Rimbo Je Ma Ke Pana Ki Gyu Je Kewa Nyamba Me Mayang Kundo Bewa Jo Rim Yi Tawa Rimbo Je Ma Ke Pana Ki Gyu Je Kewa Nyamba Me Mayang Kone Kondo Bewa Jo Sundo Jobe Lang Shi Shi Se Se Kang Jen Den Dui Gun Chana Pe Mo Den Zing Gya So La So Wa De So Shen De Lun Do Jo Ne Pen De Ma De Ba Kang Le Jung We San Bei Yi Shin No Ka De Tu Me Den Zing Gya So La So Wa De So Tu She Lun Do Jo Kang Ji Ra We Ko We Shin Gang De Pen Dang De Wa Ma Lu Jung We Ne Je Re Se Ma Den Zing Gya So Sha Bei Si De Ba Du Den Yu Ji Yu Shu Shen De Pe Ra In Ji Yi Tuan Ni Den Ra And we will recite a prayer for the swift return of Gyaltsen Lama Zopa Rinpoche in Tibetan with Geshe-la.
Dome
Temba Jase Nyerang Zolo Zang Yewa Yase Gyuba Je Raja Shinge Kyabyo Madu Be Tende Mepa Dube Gele Tsu Zobe Duden Rinpo Je Shedang Zobe Zinjin Bewa Lan Naya Mishun Sobe Goja Jen Tsungbe Jetsun Lama Suwa De Tende Madu Jongwe Goje Bu Nyewe Tendang Makyu Dowa Yi Tula Jido Zunpa Zibe Go Dobo Chiwa Zide Tie Pang Jatsu Shila Dang Gese Nangye Tuge Lambo Je Lume Dembe Yangzhu Sabi Zung Ke Sang Tu Che Pe Du Nyo Ke Shu Kowe Shingang De Pendang Dewa Malu Jungwe Nye Chere Zawang Tenze Gazoyi Chape Site Padu Tengyu Chi